Alrighty, so at the moment I'm just cutting the bottom to shape before I fiberglass these two panels together. Not actually cutting it to shape, more so cutting it to size so it's just easier to work with. And then once everything's put together with the hole sides and the spaces, then we can just put this underneath and trace the shape onto it and then cut it with the jigsaw. So here's just one of my little guides. Pretty easy, just offset the saw blade and chuck that guide there. So yeah, it's coming together pretty well, and actually, yeah, good. We're almost fully done with all the big cuts, so looking forward to getting it made. Alright, so I've managed to get all the frames in and screwed in temporarily. So I'm liking the shape of the boat, it's pretty nice. This frame here gave me a lot of trouble. There's quite a gap there, but hopefully we'll just fill that with epoxy and hopefully it turns out good. So that's looking down the boat now. I've measured the angles and the length, and it's within the range that's okay for being out. So yes, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew these temporary screws, put some epoxy down in between the frame and the boat, and then screw it back up. I've got 12 hours to get the boat square, so that's plenty of time, and hopefully, yeah, it comes out good. So we'll see how we go. Look at that, beautiful. Alrighty, so I got the base just tacked on with a couple of screws. I'll stitch it once my camera's charged, so you can have a look and see how we go. So yeah, it looks like a boat, which is cool. The way I did this was I've got the centre line here that runs away the whole way out the boat, and then I've got the centres on these spreaders here, and so you just line those up. You have to tap the boat because it wobbles a bit, and then if you just keep everything centered on that line, the curve is as equal as it can. We see how we can move it. I'm not sure if you can see that. So when we get it stitched, that's going to be set like that, and then it's just a matter of fiberglassing it. Alright, so the boat's stitched together. Let's just walk along. If we look in here, so we got a cable tie every 200 millimeters. I went with cable ties because I actually had a whole packet of them left over from the models, and I read online that you can use cable ties for this kind of boat. So I've used them and they've worked pretty well, and now I'm just going to put a fillet of epoxy, thickened epoxy, over top of this on all the corners, and then from there we'll see how we go. here's the cable ties underneath. As you can see, there's heaps. So yeah, that's what we're doing now. Okay, so what we're doing now is I've done the fillets, as you can see. That's that white angle there, and it's been left to set for about an hour or so. So it's still quite sticky. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lay the fiberglass tape over top of that, and then just paint it with unmixed epoxy, and then we'll leave that to dry for 12 hours. And it should look really good, hopefully. So I'm just cutting all the fiberglass strips. There's my fiberglass tape there. Cut all that, sit it in there, because it still sticks to the filleting, which is nice. And then, I'll just paint over it, and we'll see how we go. So that's what we're doing now. So the first thing I did was I sanded the edge of the fiberglass on the outside to take the lip off the tape, and then I put this fairing compound on it, and I let that dry for 24 hours, and I sanded it off so that it's all nice and smooth for the paint to go on. So this fills the tracking in the fiberglass, so that when you paint over it you can't see it. So that's come up really nice. You'll see on these joins here where I've done it, and it's filled all these lumps in the glue, because I used a lot of glue in the join. So yeah, it's pretty cool how you can't even see the join now. And then once that gets painted, it should look really good. So then once I finished the outside, I just came in to the inside and sanded all that with the orbital sander as well. Mainly focusing on getting just the lip off of this fiberglass tape. That way, when we put the fairing on the inside, it should smooth down really well. Alrighty, so I haven't done an update in just over a week, I think. So what has been done over the last week is all the rails have been put in. These vertical rails here, and they were all glued and screwed in. And then I think then we went to the fairing compound on the inside. And put that over the fiberglass tape and epoxy and faired it out, so we got this nice smooth edge. And then we painted the inside and the outside 4 times each, so 4 coats on each side. And now today we've got this Tassie oak here, and that's going to be going on the inside and the outside, and then we'll be making the seats. Alrighty, my name's Travis Metz, and today I'm just going to be showing you the finished product. This is my major design project for 2019. It is a 12-foot flat bottom rowboat, and yeah, let's just come and have a look. So if my camera woman can come give us some detail. Just looking at the boat, it has 3 seats. It is close to a metre wide. It sits at 990 millimetres. In the plan, originally it was supposed to be a metre wide, but that was changed due to the conformity issues that we had. The seats and the rails inside, these are made of Tasmanian oak, as well as these outside rails, and they're attached by epoxy and brass screws. So the construction method was stitch and glue, and that's where you just cut out your hull pieces, your bottom, and you have to do a join of the 2 pieces. And I did a fiberglass joint. So if you come and have a look here, this is the only place where you can see that there is a meeting point between 2 pieces of plywood. On the outside it's flush, and on the inside it's flush. And that's because we used fairing compound and sanders, and then painted it. So you did a fiberglass joint, you sand that down, not completely obviously, just on the edges, and then you put fairing compound on it, and you sand that, and you get this nice smooth finish on the outside. What else? So in the original plan, these rails here, they were supposed to have these pieces on the bottom as well. But with the conformity issues that we had, I can only get 2 of these full frames in, and then I put in these vertical framing pieces here. I refer to them as floating frames because they're not actually touching on the bottom, but when we attach this seating rail, it pulls everything tight, and as you can see, there's little flaps in the boat. So hopping in, you can see that there's enough space for me, there's enough space for paddles, there's enough space to row. Additionally, the seats are removable. And that's so the boat's easier to clean, and it can be adjusted. So if someone has shorter arms and they can't reach the oarlocks, or they need more space for their legs, you can place the seat in here, and you can attach it on the bottom of the screws, or you can make a new seat that comes back here. It's quite adjustable. There's a few mistakes in the boat. If you come and have a look here, you'll notice that there's 2 screws here and a hole. That's because when installing this rail, the screw pulled out because there was only one, and so to fix that, I had to put 2 screws in it. It doesn't look very nice, but it's just something that happens with a project like this. Additionally, the seat cutouts, they're not perfect. That's because they're done with only a jigsaw and a file. That's just what happens when you don't have access to all the tools and you're doing a bit of a backyard project. This back seat I like because you can pull it out, and then I like to sit in it like this. I don't know how a bride or a woman would like to sit in it, but I think it's quite comfortable. There's not much more I can think of. Here's a join here that I had to do to join the 2 Tasmanian oak pieces together. It's not too bad. It's definitely not perfect, but it's just glue and sawdust mixed together and put in that crack. Anything else I've missed should be covered in the portfolio.